What the covert narcissist fears most: the covert narc is devoid of almost all of the positive emotions that most humans are capable of feeling, but they are not without emotion. The narc has been given a full capacity for feeling the negative emotions of envy and hatred. The narc is jealous of everyone that even has the slightest appearance of being better off or more accomplished than they. But the narc's greatest vulnerability lies in their ability to feel fear. So what exactly does the narc fear? Looking into this aspect of the narc opens up the whole gamut of what covert narcissism is all about. The narc is all about breaking rules while appearing to abide by them. The narc always seeks the advantage in any situation, and one of the main ways of gaining an advantage is to use the morality, the true compassion, the empathy of others as tools of manipulation. Yes, moral codes of conduct mean that others in the narc's environment are more predictable and therefore more easily manipulated. Moral codes of conduct also leave open a world of untapped possibilities and opportunities that others with morality would never contemplate. Sane people aren't paranoid, and most people want to think the best of others. The narc couldn't be happier than to have someone believe that people are basically good. Yes, keep on believing in the good of others while I pretend to be good publicly and live like a devil where no one can see is the narc's attitude. The narc sees their opening by skirting all of the rules of morality. For example, the narc sees nothing wrong at all with having an affair if they can get away with it, and this illustrates the narc's mentality and attitude perfectly. The narc's attitude is that they can find untapped possibilities by treading where no moral person would ever go. In the narc's mind, this opens up all sorts of otherwise lost opportunities. So that affair is simply the narc having pleasure by not being concerned about the rules of morality. To the narc, moral people are simply missing out on that fun. Many other examples could be given, but the bottom line is that the narc isn't bound by conscience, isn't affected by remorse, and has zero empathy for any person that is harmed by their actions. This means the narc is free to take advantage of any opportunity that comes their way with little or no repercussions to themselves. But it also means the narc has much to hide, much that must remain secret. The key to living this way is to be covert, appearing to be a totally different person than they actually are. This is the motivation behind the narc's many masks and personas. Those personas mean that the narc is in control and has convinced many that their outer persona is real. Only the narc has the inside information, the knowledge that this persona is all a ruse. Yes, that mask is fully fabricated by the narc, and one of that narc's biggest thrills is pulling off the sham and making people believe. The beauty of it all is that when the narc tires of that persona, or the environment, or the job, or the relationship, they will simply create yet another persona and entrap a whole new set of people to the next persona. The narc goes through life and perfects this duplicitous lifestyle and refines these false masks to a point where they can juggle 2 or 3 at the same time, tailoring every one of those personas to the appropriate environment. Yes, that is the nature of the narc's addiction, an addiction to duplicity, lying, and deception. The foundation of all of this is the narc's soulmate, their true companion that they have bonded to for life, their true lifetime partner that they have wedded themselves to, the lie. So when you look at the scope of a narcissist's life, it becomes clear they are all about deception, lying, and duplicity. Those narcs are addicted to living a lie and in fact would cease to exist if forced to be honest and truthful. Why? Because sadly, that narc is literally a hollow human being that abdicated their humanity somewhere in their early childhood. Yes, putting on an act was so much easier than dealing with their own broken inner self. So the narc abandoned themselves in pursuit of the lie, the false persona, and in doing so much of the pain and suffering, much of the work that would have been required to build up that broken inner self, their real persona, was simply avoided. Instead, the easy way out was to pretend. Yes, many in that narc's environment would simply believe in that narc's fake persona, and that meant the narc could have a persona that was far more accomplished, far grander than the actual narc themselves. Yes, in the beginning that narc's grandiose statements were obvious chicanery, easily detected by others, but over time the narc refined their duplicity and more people believed. But the narc lost themselves in the process, and now there is literally nothing, no one home deep inside that narc. If you look hard enough, there is an immature child somewhere inside that narc that never developed into an adult, huddled in the corner, hiding and incapable of interacting with the real world. But in essence the narc is empty, and therefore their very existence now depends on maintaining a sham, deceiving others about themselves. Yes, deep inside that narc knows they are empty. So the narc is now dependent on lies, duplicity, misdirection, and treachery. The narc is dependent on one false mask after another. The narc is forever mimicking and mirroring and plagiarizing the genuine personas of others, and forever searching but never finding. Know that narc will never find themselves, never find peace, never find contentment, never escape chaos. Know that narc will never ever be able to feel comfortable with themselves because they are literally living a lie. So the question might be asked, what if a narc stuck to one persona and made it work? Well, the narc couldn't and wouldn't ever do that. Why? Because the narc knows that the persona is fake, is one-dimensional, is fabricated, and being that the narc knows this, they are totally unfulfilled by even the most ideal situation. Yes, that narc may find someone who loves them and cares, but to the narc this isn't real at all. First and foremost, the narc can't appreciate the love and commitment of their partner, they don't have the emotional capacity to, and second, the narc feels detached from all of that devotion because it is directed to a fabricated persona that the narc has created. The love from their partner is literally not owned by the narc at all in their mind, but instead directed to one of their disposable personas. So it becomes clear that for the narc to own that love, they would need to own that fabricated persona, and that is intolerable to the narcissist. Instead, the narc simply drains all of the energy out of the relationship and the partner, using that false persona as the conduit. The narc is emotionally detached from both the partner and the relationship, and really hasn't even committed to their own persona, their own false self. No, the narc will move on eventually and create a newer, seemingly better persona, and that new persona will be different, but make no mistake, it will be every bit as fake as the last one, and therefore every bit as unsatisfying. So eventually the narc will get bored of both themselves, that fabricated self, and their new situation. That is the nature of covert narcissism. So now it becomes clear why the narcissist fears the truth, because it literally destroys them. The narc's very fabric, very substance is constructed of lies, making the term fabricated persona very appropriate. That persona is an amalgam of false experiences, mirrored and plagiarized traits that were simply stolen from other people, mixed with the narc's embellished and modified actual experiences, but it is the lie that binds them all together. The truth, or the light, would literally dissolve that narc and leave nothing behind. All the narc has and has ever had for the greater majority of their lives is one fake phony persona after another, and that is all the narc will ever have. So what does the narc fear? Any person who insists on the truth, exposes the narc for what they are, exposes the narc's actions and words, pins that narcissist down and forces them to own their treachery, duplicity, and debauchery. So now it becomes clear why that covert narc deceives and gaslights and confuses. That narcissist is literally fighting for their existence. Yes, that fake persona is all they have and all they are. The narc understands full well that no matter how well constructed, that fake persona will simply collapse like a house of cards if ever scrutinized in the light of truth, so the narc absolutely needs ambiguity and confusion, needs to have all the people that surround them in a fog. Now it becomes clear why the narc simply can't understand the value of the truth. In fact, the narc hates the truth and most definitely loves the lie. The truth, and any clear-thinking individual that sees through that narc's act, is that covert narcissist's biggest nightmare. Coupled to that fear of the truth is fear of exposure, which is simply a revelation of the truth in any given environment. In this scenario, the narc's life substance may not be at risk, but their ability to be treacherous and duplicitous is greatly reined in. This makes the narc feel constrained, and the narc's solution to that problem will be to simply make plans on changing their environment. When a region of a state has been exhausted, the next stage is to move far away, where there will be free rein to once again play their wicked game and perpetrate their ruse on a whole new frontier of ready victims. The beauty of this is that the narc can make up any story they wish about their past and the reality, the truth will be far away and out of reach to those new victims who are once again being preyed upon by that evil covert narcissist. So, aside from being constrained, what else is it about exposure that narcs fear? Well, that narc cherishes their fake public billboard, and they would never want their sordid acts and the abusive boorish behavior that is displayed behind closed doors to ever be publicly found out. So publicly the narc will say they love the truth and want honesty and transparency. Publicly that narc will put on the act of morality and compassion and even fake empathy, but it is all a phony display designed by the narc to get their much needed and wanted public attention and to be seen as a fine person. Then and only then are the good things in this world appreciated by the narc, because those publicly broadcast positive emotions are an absolute necessity for that narc to get that adulation that they so crave. Yes, evil people do exist, and the list of traits for evil people: lack of empathy, remorse, and conscience, etc. describe the covert narcissist perfectly. So the narc will always fear the truth, fear being found out, fear being exposed, fear having that fine public persona shown to be what it is, fake. Yes, those narcs are fake, phony frauds through and through, and they will always hate the truth because it stops them cold in their tracks and dissolves their very life substance, everything they are and all of the lies they hold so dear. The truth shatters the narc's public image, and what lies behind that facade is not a pretty sight. Thank you for watching. Comments are welcomed. Peace be with you.